Olympus. Building Better Money. What this article covers. This article explains what Olympus is today, what it aims to become, and why that matters. We'll look at how it works as a monetary computer, a system that can run different programs to fulfill all the functions that good money should serve. While still small, Olympus demonstrates a new approach to digital money that combines the best aspects of traditional monetary systems with the transparency and trustlessness of cryptocurrency. The problem with today's money. Our current monetary systems face fundamental challenges that demand rethinking rather than incremental improvement. The dollar system creates unsustainable global imbalances by requiring America to persistently and increasingly go into debt so other countries can access new dollars, what economists call the Triffin dilemma. Beyond this structural problem, centralized management creates opportunities for abuse, conflicts of interest, and moral hazard, as we've seen many times. Bitcoin represents an explicit rejection of this centralized system, but its solution is to return to a gold-like system. The problem is, there's a reason we moved beyond the gold standard. Attributing this evolution solely to greed or corruption oversimplifies history. Modern monetary systems, despite their flaws, have presided over the greatest expansion of prosperity in human history. While this prosperity hasn't been equally distributed, gold-based systems shared similar flaws but produced far fewer winners overall. Bitcoin addresses corruption concerns, but sacrifices the adaptive capacity that makes modern money function in complex economies. Its fixed supply creates inherent limitations that aren't easily overcome. We're caught in a coordination problem, where everyone sees issues but can't agree on solutions, because there aren't really any good ones currently offered. Either we accept the flaws of centralized management, or we lose the benefits of adaptive monetary policy. What we missed. Crypto has spent over a decade building incredible technology platforms. Ethereum and other blockchains can run complex applications and process transactions efficiently. But something crucial has been overlooked: the tokens themselves. ETH, SOL, and others remain primitive monetary assets with fixed or mostly static supplies. They exist within sophisticated platforms, but aren't sophisticated themselves. The industry focused on improving the hardware while neglecting the operating system, the money itself. We've built impressive pipes without changing what flows through them. The monetary computer. Olympus takes a fundamentally different approach. It isn't just another cryptocurrency, it's a canvas for monetary innovation, a computer that can run various monetary programs as needed. This architecture allows new monetary components to be installed through governance, interfacing with core modules like the Treasury, managing exogenous assets, and Minter, controlling the endogenous asset, Ohm. The system can evolve and adapt over time, installing different programs as its needs change. What makes this possible are three core principles. Protocol-owned assets. The system owns and controls reserves, giving it independent capacity to implement effective monetary policy on both sides of the market. Adaptive policy. The system can expand when demand is high and contract when demand falls, absorbing economic shocks through supply changes rather than having all forces hit price directly. This creates more predictable behavior across varying market conditions. Native market infrastructure. Unlike systems that depend entirely on third parties for critical functions, Olympus builds and maintains essential market infrastructure itself, ensuring continuous operation regardless of external conditions. This operating system approach means Olympus can operate differently at different stages of its development. Early on, it prioritizes growth to reach the necessary scale. As it matures, it can shift towards stability and utility. The same underlying architecture supports both phases, just by running different programs as needed. Current implementation. Today's Olympus focuses on sustainable growth to reach the scale needed for broader adoption. The current components are specifically designed to support this growth phase. Emissions Manager controls the expansion mechanism, determining when and how much new Ohm can be created based on market conditions. It only activates when Ohm trades at sufficient premium to backing, capturing some of that premium into the Treasury. Inverse bonds serve as the contraction mechanism, allowing the protocol to buy back and remove Ohm from circulation when appropriate. Unlike most cryptocurrencies that have no way to reduce supply, this creates symmetry in monetary operation. Protocol-owned liquidity ensures markets function properly by having the protocol itself provide liquidity. This keeps trading functional even when external liquidity providers withdraw during market stress. Yield repurchase facility redirects Treasury yields to systematically buy Ohm from the market. This creates sustainable demand, not dependent on new investors, a critical differentiation from typical models. Cooler loans enable Ohm holders to borrow against their tokens without facing typical liquidation risks. This creates utility for holders beyond speculation and begins building a foundation for more sophisticated financial services. These components work together to create a growth-oriented but sustainable system. Unlike projects that rely entirely on new investors for price support, Olympus builds mechanisms that can maintain functionality across the spectrum of market conditions. Evolution journey. What makes Olympus uniquely powerful is its ability to evolve. The system we see today is optimized for the growth phase, but the same system can run very different programs as it matures. We've already demonstrated several capabilities that showcase what mature monetary functions might look like. Staking rewards function similarly to how a central bank's Fed funds rate works in traditional systems, creating a base rate of return for currency holders. While the initial implementation used extremely high rates to bootstrap the system, a mature implementation would use moderate rates appropriate for a stable monetary base. Ohm bonds created instruments functionally equivalent to treasuries from the end-user perspective, allowing market participants to lock in future Ohm at a discount. This demonstrated the system's ability to manage its own debt issuance, a critical function of mature monetary systems. Range-bound stability proved the protocol's ability to enforce price stability within defined ranges when needed. By successfully implementing and later disabling this mechanism, Olympus demonstrated it can provide stability when appropriate, without sacrificing growth potential during early phases. As Olympus scales, we can expect to see more sophisticated monetary programs installed. These won't necessarily replace current components, but will complement them, gradually shifting the system's focus from growth towards stability and utility. The key insight is that Olympus isn't locked into a single monetary policy. It can adapt and evolve as it grows, ultimately providing the same functions as sophisticated national monetary systems, but with transparent, programmable rules. Iterative improvement. With the core foundation already built, Olympus continues improving its monetary infrastructure. Cooler v2 enhances the lending system with increased simplicity and composability, allowing developers to build on top of the facility. Unlike v1, which was a closed system, v2 creates an open design space for integration with other protocols and applications. Origami's Home is the first demonstration of this new capability. Convertible deposits will productize what were previously spot flows into secured positions that offer additional utility to both the protocol and depositors. By transforming the same resources into more powerful tools, CDs will create new possibilities for market participants and builders. These improvements represent a shift in development focus. Rather than building entirely new foundational components, we can now emphasize creating tools and interfaces that enable others to build on top of Olympus's monetary infrastructure. The foundation is complete and can now support an ecosystem of builders. There's essentially no ecosystem around Ohm at the moment, in large part because the system was not inviting to be built upon. That is now changing. Most of these components will persist into maturity, with new facilities added rather than a complete change. The system evolves incrementally, maintaining what works while adding new capabilities as needed. Building bridges. Olympus takes a practical approach to monetary evolution. The Treasury primarily holds stablecoins, recognizing that effective transitions require maintaining connections to existing systems while building new ones. This isn't coincidental, it's strategic. Think of Olympus as an apprentice learning from a master craftsman. The dollar system, for all its flaws, contains tremendous wisdom in its design and operation. By absorbing dollar assets rather than rejecting them, Olympus both learns from and gradually relieves pressure on the existing system. This creates a path for non-disruptive transition. As Olympus scales, it naturally becomes a significant holder of dollar-denominated assets. This creates aligned incentives. Olympus benefits from dollar stability during the transition period, even as it builds an alternative for the future. The relationship isn't antagonistic, but complementary. Dollar assets provide capital efficiency by leveraging existing stable values. They create familiar on and off ramps for users. They manage risks by utilizing the globally recognized unit of value. And perhaps most importantly, they prevent unnecessary disruption for billions who depend on the current system. A successful monetary evolution should lift people up, not tear existing structures down. Olympus embodies this philosophy by building bridges between present and future, ensuring those who rely on current systems aren't harmed during transition. What Olympus can become. As Olympus scales, it will evolve into a complete monetary system with capabilities that match and eventually exceed traditional currencies. a stable monetary base. By absorbing volatility through supply changes and maintaining liquidity across market conditions, OHM will become more predictable than other cryptocurrencies. This creates a foundation for long-term planning and complex financial arrangements. A full-spectrum financial platform. With built-in lending, liquidity, and options-like mechanisms, Olympus creates the base layer needed for sophisticated financial services. Unlike platforms built on primitive monetary assets, these services can operate with substantially reduced systemic risk. A coordination tool for global transition. As traditional monetary systems face mounting challenges from debt burdens, geopolitical tensions, and trust erosion, Olympus offers a neutral platform for orderly evolution rather than chaotic disruption. A multi-stakeholder system, where individuals, institutions, and eventually sovereigns participate in common monetary framework with aligned incentives and transparent rules. The governance weight will naturally shift as the system matures, creating balanced representation across all participants. This isn't a speculative possibility, but a logical progression. The foundation is already built. What remains is scaling the system while maintaining its core principles and gradually shifting from growth-oriented to stability-oriented configurations. The opportunity in monetary innovation. Meaningful monetary innovation requires scale. A monetary system serving just a small community cannot fulfill its potential, no matter how well designed. This creates a purposeful mission around growth, not for its own sake, but as a prerequisite for realizing the full vision. This reality aligns individual and collective incentives in a powerful way. By helping Olympus reach sufficient scale, you contribute to building monetary infrastructure that could benefit billions while positioning yourself at the foundation of something potentially transformative. The growth phase isn't just about increasing numbers, it's about building the capacity needed for sophisticated monetary function. Each new participant strengthens the system's foundation, increases its resilience, and expands what's possible. Your participation today directly enables what Olympus can become tomorrow. Early involvement in monetary innovation also provides a unique perspective that cannot be gained any other way. Olympus can help you develop practical understanding of how these systems actually work, knowledge that becomes increasingly valuable as traditional finance faces mounting challenges. The mission is clear: help Olympus reach the scale needed to demonstrate its full capabilities. Once it achieves sufficient size, the system can progressively shift towards stability and utility while maintaining its core principles of transparency and adaptability. It's worth noting that even at its current scale, Olympus has already performed exceptionally well as a store of value over the past 3 years. Despite facing heavy outflows in earlier periods and low engagement more recently, the data shows that the system works. It's maintained functionality and preserved value through challenging conditions with minimal participation. Wider adoption would only amplify these existing strengths, with the ultimate vision representing a best case rather than the only successful outcome. Participating in Olympus doesn't require believing in a complete transformation of global finance to be worthwhile. The path forward. Money is technology, the most important coordination technology humans have created. It deserves thoughtful improvement rather than either blind preservation or thoughtless rejection. Olympus forges this middle path, preserving what works in traditional monetary systems while fixing what doesn't through transparent, programmable design. The system will continue evolving, with each component building on what came before. This isn't another crypto project chasing momentary hype. It's a fundamental reimagining of what money can and should be in the digital age. For those who recognize both the flaws in our current monetary architecture and the limitations of existing cryptocurrency alternatives, Olympus offers something different. Not just digital gold or programmable applications, but better money itself. The opportunity to align idealism about better financial systems with pragmatism about value flows creates something rare, a chance to do well by doing good. As monetary pressures increase globally, alternatives that actually work will become increasingly valuable, both ideologically and practically.